It's been 55 years, and the Super Bowl has been played in 16 different cities, and not once has a team even played the Super Bowl in their home stadium. One thing that you will notice about this list is there is an obvious disadvantage for northern teams to be the first to beat this curse, because the Super Bowl is typically hosted in the states with a warmer climate in February. In fact, 28 Super Bowls have taken place in just 3 cities, Miami, LA, and New Orleans. However, Mother Nature must be a football fan, because the one time they had it in New York City in 2014, the game day weather was actually perfect for an outdoor venue like MetLife Stadium, even though the forecasts were calling for rain and snow. Too bad the Broncos didn't even show up for that one, or it could have been a good game. The Giants and Jets both had their chance to play this year, but the Giants, despite being only 2 years removed from their second Super Bowl win over the Patriots, just crumbled under the pressure and started the season 0-6, while Eli had one of his worst seasons as a pro. Geno Smith and
Goddamn Jets
finished 8-8, but failed to ever get any kind of consistency, alternating win-loss for the first 11 weeks of the season. Another cold city that's hosted a Super Bowl is Detroit, and they've done it twice actually, once in 1982 and then again in 2016. But this Lions team has a curse of its own, preventing them from achieving anything other than mediocrity. Bobby Lane cursed the Lions for 50 years.
Legend has it that Lane said the Lions wouldn't win for 50 years, and the curse was born.
And then the NFL gave them a Super Bowl 2 years before that curse was set to expire. I am concerned that the Super Bowl host curse boomeranged the Bobby Lane curse.
I think the bus is, the last stop is here in Detroit.
And now it's just moving in reverse. So that means the Lions are looking at another 34 years of no championships. Yikes.
This is the year, baby! 19-0! Believe it! Lions in the bowl in Tampa!
The Vikings had a rare opportunity to play in a Minnesota Super Bowl, which would have been a legendary way to follow up the Minnesota Miracle.
He'll fire to the right side, caught by Diggs. Stay up! Oh my God! Oh my God! 30! No! 10! Touchdown! Are you kidding me? It's a Minneapolis Miracle!
But like I said, it was squandered in Philadelphia against a backup quarterback. This was actually the second Super Bowl in Minneapolis, with the first taking place in 1992. But I think that the curse got its teeth into this team shortly after the NFL announced the location of Super Bowl 26. With the Vikings coming off of an 11-5 season, Minneapolis was awarded the Super Bowl in 1989, and this was considered a huge win for the city. The Metrodome would become the only stadium to host a Super Bowl, World Series, Final Four, and MLB All-Star game. The pressure to build a winner mounted, and the Vikings thought that they were one piece away from winning a Super Bowl themselves. So 5 weeks into that season, they made the infamous trade for running back Herschel Walker that set the Cowboys up for a 90s dynasty and depleted the Vikings' first and second round draft picks for the next 3 seasons. Fast forward to the 91-92 season, and the Vikings finished with an 8-8 record. Herschel Walker was released later that offseason, and after 6 years as the Viking head coach, Jerry Burns retired. Now Dennis Green took over for Jerry Burns, and what actually helped the Vikings build one of the best offenses ever, and this was before the mobile quarterback and spread concepts took over the NFL. It all came together in 1998 when the stars of an aging Randall Cunningham, Chris Carter in his prime, and a rookie Randy Moss all aligned for an almost perfect season. This is arguably the greatest team in NFL history that didn't make it to the Super Bowl, and one of my personal favorites. In the NFC Championship game, the Dirty Birds from Atlanta came to the Metrodome to win on an overtime field goal, sending the Falcons to the Super Bowl, where they eventually lost to the Broncos. With Super Bowl 34 set to take place in Atlanta, the Falcons were a popular preseason pick to be the first team to play in a home Super Bowl, and they had a chance to redeem their Super Bowl loss in epic fashion. In week 2 of that season, the Falcons lost star running back Jamal Anderson to a knee injury and started the season 0-4, finishing with a 5-11 record. The story of the third Super Bowl in Atlanta is eerily similar. After blowing a 28-3 lead in Super Bowl 51, the Falcons faced more scrutiny than possibly any other Super Bowl loser in history. The memes were everywhere to make sure that we quote-unquote never forgot the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead. The classic Super Bowl hangover was an easy way to discredit them as contenders the following season, but the Falcons were able to make the playoffs despite the NFC South being a 3-headed monster, with the Saints and Panthers both winning 11 games. They then went into LA, won a playoff game against the Jumpstart Rams, led by the NFL's newest darling, Sean McVay, but then lost 15-10 in the divisional round to the eventual Super Bowl champions. At the time, the general consensus was that this elite Falcons team was clearly knocking on the door and should be contending for the next few seasons. And with the upcoming Super Super Bowl taking place in the Falcons' brand new stadium, they were generating a lot of buzz as the first team that could possibly host a Super Bowl. However, the injury bug came through the Falcons locker room like a hurricane, taking 7 of their starters to IR with it, once again including the starting running back Devontae Freeman as its Super Bowl sacrifice. The Falcons started 1-4, and despite being eliminated from the playoffs, they went on to finish the season on a 3-game winning streak, eliminating their shot at a top 10 draft pick and adding insult to their injuries. But let's address the team that has had the most chances and the closest calls. Last year, Miami got its 11th shot at playing in a home Super Bowl game, and they went into it with the front office hoping to tank for Tua. Yeah, they got their man in the end, but how much did it cost? Now, I'm not going to break down every single Dolphins roster for the previous 10 chances they had, but the closest the stars came aligning was in the late 60s to the late 70s, the Don Shula era. We've heard of the perfect 72 Dolphins. Well, Miami hosted 5 Super Bowls in an 11-year span, with 3 of those coming in a 4-year span before taking a 5-year break to let some other cities host the Super Bowl. During this 5-year Miami hangover, the Dolphins managed to play in 3 Super Bowls, winning 2 of them. The odds for them to overcome this curse were in their favor, but the collective karma from the city of Miami in the 70s didn't allow them to actually win the whole thing while the game was in Miami.
It's called cocaine, and you don't want no part of this shit.
I think the perfect season paired with back-to-back championships was good enough to satisfy Dolphins fans, but they could have pulled off the trifecta with a home Super Bowl win. I can only imagine how wild the party scene would have been. For other cities to get the Super Bowl, teams typically have to have a state-of-the-art stadium that has recently been built or renovated. Super Bowl 55 was originally supposed to be in the Rams-Chargers new joint stadium, but it wasn't going to be ready just yet, so the game shifted to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay this year so that the Bucs can show off their new screen. We'll have to wait and see what kind of omen that is regarding the curse and the impact for these 3 teams in the next couple of years. So basically, Tampa Bay got an advance on their curse, but we'll get to that for this year. The last Super Bowl in Tampa was Super Bowl 35. After benching Trent Dilfer the year before for throwing too many interceptions, the Bucs came into that season with a new starting quarterback, second-year quarterback Sean King, which allowed Trent Dilfer to join another team with a strong defense where he could continue to just be a bus driver. Sean King went 4-1 after replacing Dilfer as the starter in his rookie season, and even won a playoff game against the team from Washington, D.C. He then started all 16 games for the Bucs in his first year as the starter. This was shaping up for a dream scenario for the young quarterback, who actually played his high school football at Gibbs High School in St. Petersburg, only 20 miles away from the Buccaneers Stadium. He had a chance to lead this historic defense to a Super Bowl right outside his old high school stomping grounds. He was probably thinking that he was going to have a movie made about him one day. But when the Buccaneers had to travel to Philadelphia for divisional round playoff game, all the talk was about the fact that the Bucs were 0-19 in games under 40 degrees. And even in a world before Twitter, players still heard what people said about them, and even the talking heads on TV could see that the Bucs had made it this far despite Sean King, not because of him. After a slow start, the Buccaneers offense warmed up on their 4th drive. Sean King was able to beat the Eagles blitz finally and get all of their weapons involved. Work done. Keyshawn Johnson, Mike Allstott. But on 3rd and 7 inside the Eagles red zone, the Buccaneers coaching staff showed their lack of faith and confidence in Sean King by calling a draw play to work done. They settled for putting the first 3 points on the board, but Sean King and the offense froze up after that. The Buccaneers lost 21-3, but that wasn't the end of their cursed season. A few weeks later, the Bucs had to watch Trent Dilfer quarterback the Ravens to a Super Bowl victory in their pirate ship stadium. The Bucs went on to sign Brad Johnson that offseason and won a Super Bowl 2 years later, but their lack of faith in their quarterbacks may have cost them a shot at a home Super Bowl. Fast forward to the 2020 NFL offseason, and this is another example of history possibly repeating itself. Not only have the Bucs moved on from a productive quarterback they spent a number 1 overall draft pick on, they chose to replace him with a 42-year-old quarterback. I know it's Tom Brady, but even GOATs get old. For example, if I told you that you had to choose between the Washington Wizards version of Michael Jordan or Gilbert Arenas, who are you going to pick? At least the Wizards did it in the right order. That means this is a one-and-done shot at a Super Bowl run for the Buccaneers. They made Jameis Winston a sacrificial lamb in a year where they are hosting the game in possibly an attempt to overcome this curse. And the football gods have already responded, and that's with COVID-19 putting the entire season in jeopardy. Cam Newton was released 4 days after Brady signed with the Buccaneers, and it was assumed that both of these quarterbacks would be available to some degree this offseason. And the Buccaneers chased after the 42-year-old ex-MVP instead of waiting for the 32-year-old ex-MVP. Imagine picking Tom Brady over Cam Newton in this NFL climate. Couldn't be me. And if this scenario plays out anything like it did for the Bucs in the year 2000, then Jameis Winston will probably come in for an injured Drew Brees and lead the Saints to a Super Bowl victory in Raymond James Stadium. After the coronavirus dust settles on the Bucs fans' hopes and dreams this year, the Rams and Chargers will get another chance at this thing before the curse goes to LA for them and Super Bowl 56. Now, the Rams are probably the closest team to have ever played in a home game as far as proximity goes. Technically, their home field was the LA Coliseum, but Super Bowl 14 was in the Rose Bowl, which is only a 20-minute drive. But it's not the same as using your same locker or your same parking spot that you've become so accustomed to using for so many months of the year. I mean, hell, even down to the wind not blowing through the stadium the same way. But there was probably a lot of pressure playing in front of almost a home crowd of fans, and it showed in their loss to the Steelers. For the Chargers, at least the San Diego edition of them, they didn't even make it to the playoffs in any of the 3 seasons the Super Bowl was slated to come to town. But at least they won't be the only team in the NFL without fans in the stands this year. The Cardinals are set up for some of the biggest disappointment, with their roster shaping up for a run in a year or two. 2023 figures to be the final year of Kyler Murray's contract before the Cardinals can pick up the 5th-year option, so it's going to be crucial for the Cardinals to win before this curse comes to town in 2022. Of the previous Arizona Super Bowls, the closest that they ever got to playing in a home Super Bowl was actually recently in 2014. Funny enough, it was Bruce Arians' second season with the Cardinals, making him all too familiar with the roller coaster of emotions that he likely felt as a contender and a chance to make the Cardinals the first team to play in a home Super Bowl. Instead, the Cardinals were one and done in the playoffs after getting smacked by a 7-8-1 Panthers team that limped out of a weak NFC South. By 2024, Drew Brees will be long gone, and Jameis Winston might actually be the starting quarterback of the Saints. That's only if by some Cajun miracle he hasn't self-destructed by 2024. Otherwise, the curse could make it likely that this is the year he's accused of doing something weird on Bourbon Street. And despite New Orleans ranking 3rd on the list of cities with the most Super Bowls hosted, the Saints have been a joke for much of their existence early on.
We just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked.
Their stadium was really just used as a party spot. They were that kid in high school that didn't have a lot of friends. All the cool kids convinced him to have a party when his parents were out of town. They had no choice but to say yes. They hosted 6 Super Bowls before even winning double-digit games in a single season. The best shot that they ever had was in 2012, ironically the year of the Bountygate scandal being brought to light, and Sean Payton was suspended for the entire season. They were only 3 seasons removed from their Super Bowl win over the Colts, and were coming off of a 13-win season. With the home field advantage the Saints had during this time, it would have been ridiculous during the Super Bowl. Go ahead and get your conspiracy theories ready for the comments. I want to hear them. When 90% of the Super Bowls are hosted in southern cities, it's going to be tough for the stars to align just right for a team to play in a home Super Bowl. Then factor in that the northern teams have won like 90% of them over the last 20 years. Thanks a lot, New England.
You guys win every year. You don't think you should give a chance to somebody else?
Whether you believe in a curse or not, a Super Bowl won by a team in their home stadium might be something we never get to see in our lifetime. But please let me know in the comments if this is something that you would like to see or something that you like seeing as a Madden curse replacement. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you watched this far, please do me the honor of hitting that like button, and if you subscribe, I will be eternally grateful. I would love to dive deeper on a few of these teams that I didn't have time for. So maybe if this video does well, I will do a follow-up. For those of you that have been a subscriber and watched my last 2 videos, I owe you an explanation. I said I was going to do a 4-part breakout player positional series, but it's been a little while and only 2 have been released. I promise that I'm going to make the other 2 videos because I am a man of my word, but I needed to make something different. I wanted to give you something that doesn't require a bunch of what ifs because there's enough uncertainty in all of our lives right now. Hell, the NFL doesn't even know what they're doing right now. Also, after taking a break, YouTube likes to act as if the notifications are broken until you get a banger of a video, and I'm not sure if this video is a banger or not. Hopefully you'll let me know in the comments, but I do know that it's pretty unique and not something that every NFL beat writer and his grandma has a list of ready to go for the season, like the breakout players versions. So hopefully this gains the old channel some traffic, and I will finish the breakout series in the near future. But if something isn't working, I'm not going to bang my head against the wall thinking that eventually it will. I'm not Jason Garrett, but this has been a weird time in our lives, and I'm just trying to get through it just like anybody else. It's been really hard to focus on projecting NFL stuff for 2020 with just so much hanging in the balance. So I'm diving more into the storytelling or breaking down some of my favorite moments in NFL history while we all figure this stuff out together. I'll still be doing my NFL weekly pick'ems and mock drafts this upcoming season, fingers crossed, but I'm looking forward to doing some more unique stuff like this as we move forward. Thanks to everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I will see you all in the next video.